Good evening and welcome to CYC News for the 13th of August 2017 and the 7th of Misra 17:33 am. I'm Andrew Botros. In today's headlines, 2 dead despite Venezuela's suppressing parliamentary attack at base. Jihadists among 9,000 Syrians to cross border to Lebanon in ceasefire deal. Former Russian ambassador to US, no secret in talks with Flynn. Nato jets intercept Russian planes near Estonian airspace. President Trump signs bill approving new sanctions against Russia. Hurricane Franklin weakened to tropical storm. How psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis are related. But first, to our first story. Venezuela, where the country remained on the edge as authorities said that they had subdued an anti-government parliamentary attack at a military base that led to deaths of 2 people. A man who identified himself as an army officer announced a revolt on social media, an action he called a legitimate rebellion aimed at the first government leftist President Nicolas Maduro. A man who claimed he was Captain Juan Guaidó said, "Who are now united now more than ever with the brave people of Venezuela, who do not recognize the legitimacy of Nicolas Maduro's murderous tyranny." The president, speaking on his weekly TV show, Sundays with Maduro, made reference to an incident saying, "A week ago we won with votes and today we had to beat terrorism with bullets. They attack with terrorism and hate. We attack with work, our love. They destruct, we construct," he said. To the Middle East now, where around 9,000 Syrians, including jihadists and their families, will cross from Lebanon into Syria as part of a ceasefire deal between former Al-Qaeda affiliate and Hezbollah, the Lebanese militia said in a statement. In exchange, 5 Hezbollah prisoners held by fighters from Jabhat al-Nusra, which cut ties with Qaeda last year, will be freed. Jabhat al-Nusra, now known as Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, and ISIS took over large parts of the Lebanon-Syria border region in 2014. Hezbollah, together with the Lebanese army, has waged a military campaign to recapture the territory. In recent years, Hezbollah said that it regained control of around 95% of the area, culminating into the ceasefire deal. In the first phase of the ceasefire, the Lebanese Red Cross said 15 of its ambulances shuttled the remains of militants across the border. Around 150 buses were stationed at the border to transport thousands of Syrians to the region of Idlib and Kalamoun. The prisoner swap was expected to take place in Aleppo, according to Hezbollah's TV station Al-Manar. The UN Refugee Agency, which was not involved in the deal, expressed fears that the swaps would endanger civilians. UNHCR believes that the conditions for refugees to return in safety and dignity are not yet in place in Syria, spokeswoman Lisa Abu Khaled told Reuters last week. Khaled also said that the UNHCR has been trying to reach refugees in the border region of Assal to determine whether returns were voluntary. In other news, Russia's former ambassador to the United States, Sergei Kislyak, said his conversations with the former United States National Security Advisor Michael Flynn were only about simple things with no secrets. Kislyak also mentioned during his interview with a state-run broadcaster Russia 24, he did not discuss sanctions with his US counterparts, an assertion that doesn't appear to match with US reports. Spy agency found that Kislyak did have talks with Flynn when they did ask where they were discussed. The 66-year-old, who ended his service as an ambassador in July, said that there are a few topics that are important to US-Russia cooperation. First of all, it's terrorism. This one had to be discussed. This conversation was proper, calm, and absolutely transparent. There were no secrets, at least on our side, he continued. When pressed about the talk's content, Kislyak said that, "I didn't come here to testify. We do not comment on specific conversations, and we give them the right to decide whether they want to be public and what they don't want to be public." But Kislyak added he had instructions not to discuss sanctions with his counterparts. "We did not discuss sanctions with anyone. We do not discuss or bargain the sanctions because we believe that they were initially introduced illegally, aggressively, in a political sense of the way. It's partially their problem," he said. Sources have told CNN that Flynn, who was a US National Security Advisor, is waiting at the time. Talked with Kislyak about existing US sanctions against Russia in December. It is illegal for unauthorized private citizens to negotiate with foreign governments on behalf of the United States. Flynn assumed the post in January, but resigned in the next month after reports emerged that he misled administration officials about his talks with the ambassador. NATO jets intercepted 3 Russian military aircraft near Estonian airspace last week, an alliance spokesman told CNN. 2 Spanish F-18 jets assigned to NATO's Baltic air policing mission scrambled from Estonia's Amari air base on Tuesday morning to intercept an unidentified non-NATO military aircraft near Estonian airspace. Acting NATO spokeswoman Dylan White said in his statement. He added that Finnish jets also scrambled to intercept the Russian aircraft, which he identified as 2 MiG-31 fighter and an AN-26 transport plane. The incident also saw the Spanish aircraft accidentally entering Finnish airspace. In handing over the intercept to the Finnish jets, the Spanish jets accidentally finished airspace. NATO's Air Command has explained the incident to the Finnish Air Operations Center to improve future coordination. White said, in Finland, which cannot be a member of NATO, appeared to confirm the incident, which is military defense, assuming a statement saying the 2 Spanish jets were suspected of having violated Finland's airspace on Tuesday morning. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg told reporters following a meeting of the NATO-Russia Council last month. We have now seen an increase in air activity in the Baltic region. With a few exceptions, the vast majority of the intercept are conducted in a safe and responsible manner by all parties. NATO's Baltic air policing mission involves allied aircraft securing the airspace of Baltic nations of Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. The incident between NATO and Russian military aircraft comes less than 24 hours after US Vice President Mike Pence visited Estonia, where he reaffirmed America's commitment to NATO's collective defensive clause in the face of Russian aggression. No threat looms larger in the Baltic states than the specter of aggression from your unpredictable neighbor to the east, Pence said in an appearance with the leaders of the 3 nations. Under President Donald Trump, the United States of America reject any attempt to use force, threats, intimidation, or malign influence to the Baltic states or against any of our treaty allies, he added. In the meantime, President Donald Trump has also signed a legislation that levies new sanctions against Russia and restricts his own ability to ease sanctions in place against Moscow. The bill is one of the first major pieces of legislation that was sent to Trump's desk, and it represents a rebuke of the president by giving Congress new veto power to block him from removing the sanctions. The White House announced the signing, saying that the bill includes a number of clearly unconstitutional provisions that purport to displace the president's exclusive constitutional authority to recognize foreign governments, including their territorial bonds. Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev reacted strongly to the bill's signing, saying it showed a fully fledged trade war between the declared against Russia and the Trump administration demonstrated complete impotence in the most humiliating manner, transferring executive powers to the Congress. Over to Mexico now, and Hurricane Franklin weakened to a tropical storm after it made landfall in eastern Mexico, the National Hurricane Center said. It hit the eastern coast as a hurricane, threatening to bring torrential rains and strong winds to the region prone to the flash floods and mudslides. A few hours later, the Atlantic season's first hurricane was downgraded to a tropical storm, forecasters said. It was in the Bay of Campeche in the southern Gulf of Mexico when Franklin was classified as a hurricane before strengthening to Category 1 with a maximum sustained winds of 85 miles per hour. It continued to move inland over the mountains of central Mexico, where the torrential rains, strong winds affected the population from the east coast forward Mexico City. The NHC advisory said that the main threats going forward would be flash flooding and mudslide. Franklin made landfall on the eastern coast of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. The center said, with the storm battering Belize and Peninsula with heavy rain and strong winds. Rainfalls totaling up to 8 inches with isolated maximum amount of 15 inches were possible in various Mexican states, including Tabasco, northern Veracruz, and northern Puebla, according to the center. Forecasters said that the hurricane force winds extended up to 35 miles from the center of the storm, and tropical storm force winds exceeded up to 150 miles. A hurricane warning has been in effect for the coast of Mexico from Puerto Veracruz to Cabo Rojo, and Hurricane Watch is in effect for the coast of Mexico north of Cabo Rojo to Rio Panuco. A tropical storm warning is in effect for the coast of Mexico south of Puerto de la Cruz to Puerto do Bocas and north of Cabo Rojo to Barra del Tordo, according to the centre. Over to health news now. Psoriasis is a skin condition affecting about 2% of Americans. It causes excess build-up of skin cells, triggering red scaly patches called plaques to form in various areas in your body. If you have psoriasis in your immune system, it goes into overdrive over healing cuts and scrapes by producing too much inflammation, and sometimes this happens even without injury to your skin. This reaction causes patches to form on the surface of your skin, which can be painful, uncomfortable, and irritatingly itchy. As if dealing with psoriasis isn't enough, up to 30% of psoriasis patients also develop psoriatic arthritis, a condition that causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling. Although psoriasis is visible on the skin and psoriasis is internal, the two conditions are closely linked. Both conditions have to do with an abnormality functioning in the immune system, one that causes your body to attack itself from the inside. The result of this attack manifests itself in chronic inflammation in psoriasis. This inflammation affects your skin, and with psoriatic arthritis, inflammation affects your joints. The typical symptoms of psoriatic arthritis are swelling of your knee, ankle joints, reduced mobility, and pain or tenderness. Inflammation can also affect fingers and toes, resulting in dactylitis, a particular type of swelling that causes digits to look like sausages. Psoriatic arthritis can cause enthesitis, inflammation in your areas where your tendons and ligaments hook into the bone. Pain varies from patient to patient, but some people have experienced no pain at all, which some are not able to carry out daily tasks. Patients often describe the feeling of psoriatic arthritis as having a bruise or injury that keeps throbbing and does not subside. Many patients with severe psoriatic arthritis are disabled to the point that they cannot even wash or dress themselves. The number of joints involved and to what degree are affected determines a patient's pain level. And that is all for CYC News. A reminder that you can watch this news bulletin again throughout the week on YouTube. I'm Andrew Botros from the CYC studios in Sydney, Australia. Have a good night and God bless.